Okay, so the first and easiest exercise that is you can do with this setup is to come straight through down the long side of the arena. So there's two different things that we're working on through this. The first is the step regularity through the edge elements of the exercise, and the second is encouraging slightly more lift through the body, through the centre cross part of the exercise. So we're really wanting the horse to come through a nice regular rhythm through the exercise, encouraging some nice lift in the body. So that's one of the common faults that can happen, where the horse just doesn't quite see exactly where they're supposed to be putting down their feet. So what I normally advise people to do when that happens is to just try again and see how the exercise goes, and if it improves. If it doesn't and the horse continues to struggle, you can change the centre of the exercise slightly so the V is wider, and they usually sort their feet out when that's there. So we've just edited this exercise to make it slightly easier for Callie when she's trotting through the centre portion. As you see now, she has got a much clearer route for her to go through, so where she's not quite able to pick where her feet need to go, she finds that much easier when the exercise is slightly widened through the centre. It just gives her a little bit more room to travel through that centre V portion, where previously she may have landed on that pole, which could cause an injury, which we want to avoid where possible. Well corrected, well done, good. And as she starts to find that exercise slightly easier, we can then bring the V back in together. So then to make that exercise slightly easier again, we've now got just one part of the V together and the second part of the V wide. And again, it just makes it slightly easier for her feet to land down. So Callie's a little bit tense today, which is why we've got some slightly rushed and abnormal rhythms that are going on. So here Sally's asking the horse to come into the exercise in a little bit of a balanced trot so that she can travel through the exercise. And we saw over that V in the centre, over the cross in the centre, that Doris really lifts up through the chest, which is exactly what we want her to do. So through the first portion of the exercise, we're working on that balance and the rhythm in the body and encouraging her to take a clear 2-beat trot. And then we're asking her to lift up through the chest and then break back out into a nice rhythm again afterwards. That's brilliant. Keep that nice rhythm. Good, so a nice balanced trot to the first part, and a lift through the shoulder, very big lift, and then trots out through the other side. So as we saw there, what Doris needed to do to ensure that she could keep her rhythm is to reach out a little bit more through the step and take a slightly different path. Now that is what's working on the proprioceptive side. So where things start to go a little bit wrong, it encourages them to really think about where they're putting their feet. There, and we got a lovely lift through the chest that time after she represented. So this is the second progression of this exercise. You can start on this exercise as well if your horse might be a bit overfaced by the exercise originally. So we get a lovely lift through the body as we trot through this one, and we're riding through a figure of 8 exercise normally through this one. So we've got the first arrow, then we've got the cross again, and then we've got a second arrow on the way out to really get the horse lifting up. And we see a really nice elevation through the body, and it's really working those chest and sling muscles to lift the horse up in front. Sit steady. Beautiful, cool. So this again works on the horse's rhythm because they're having to take regular steps through the exercise to ensure they can make progress, and then have to have that big lift over the cross. So as we see the horse work through the exercises, we see that they start to become more lifted in their chest as they're just trotting around, because they've had to activate those muscles a few times now, so it gets them to lift much more through the shoulder and work over the back. Good. So we're starting to work a little bit more on the horse's core and lateral suppleness now. So we're progressing this exercise to be slightly harder, so the horse has to close up the underside of the body and bend. Good. And it also further works on the horse's ability to not get fixed on where they're going to go. So if a horse starts to set onto an exercise, this is a great one to do, because there's so many different ways in and out that they can't decide exactly which route they're going to have to go on this time around. Maybe take that slightly shallower loop and see how she goes with that. Oh, brilliant. That was lovely. So here Sally's demonstrating how you can use the exercise again to change the rein and swap to the other lead. Good. Well done, good. Cool, all right, let's walk and rest there, I think. That's it, so make sure you're turning through your body through here as well. Good, lovely, well done. So a common fault that can happen here with riders is that they don't look quite through their body and look the direction that they're wanting to go. So by picking a point in the distance to look at and focusing on that as you ride through, you encourage your horse to turn through their body rather than relying just on your steering to turn and your steering in your legs. Good. So I think if you do that one more time, Hannah, so circle through this time and like restart the exercise. So here we'll see Hannah that starts to turn through her body and look out through the direction of the exercise that she's looking to travel, to help Callie to really move through her body and understand clearly exactly what she's asking her to do. Lovely. That's it, and now she'll start to look left through the body so that she's turning and encouraging Callie to follow through the left side. So the beauty of this exercise, where we're turning from a circle to changing the diagonal to a circle again, is the horse is unable to know what way you're going to be asking. So each time she enters, she's turning a completely different route. So where like this pony earlier got quite hot and fresh, she now is not getting so perturbed because she doesn't know what's going to happen, so she can't set off and run through the exercise. So this is really good for settling them down and also for getting them to really bend through that body. So here's another way you can link two of the exercises together. So we can go across the short side of the school to change the rein, and then we can come through the long side of the exercise. Then we can turn left and go back through the short side of the exercise, and then continue to turn left thereafter. Good. So we're further linking all of these routes together to show all the different ways. Better. Lovely. Lovely. So the focus of using raised poles is to really encourage a lot more joint range of movement and flexion through the legs. So we see that the horse will really elevate through those limbs and get their joints flexing upwards, which is brilliant for horses that might be a little bit stiff in one of the hind legs, because often some stiffness can come from when the horse isn't using its full range of movement, or that's the maximum ability the joint has to move from when it's extended to when it's closed up and flexed. So if a horse might be a little bit stiff on one leg, this is brilliant for encouraging them to move right through their body. It's also really good for horses who might be weak in the core, so it gets them to really contract their stomach because they have to lift their body up and lift all of their joints and flex up.